Okay, so that's where you're going to want to place your baby picture and frame it. I'm going to pull this out because the pearl is there, and I'm going to flip this over. My flaps are now off to the right hand side. So cut a piece of cardstock that is 4 3/4 by 5 7/8 of an inch. In your paper pack, you will find this print. On the back, it looks like this. All right, we're going to turn it so we're looking at it like this. Measure over 5 3/4 of an inch and cut. Alrighty, we're going to stick these sheets off into our reserves. We are 5 3/4 of an inch wide here. We're just going to look at our paper like this, measure over 7 3/4 of an inch, and cut. These small pieces, stick these in reserves for now. Alrighty, we're on the inside with our flap off to the right. If you place this down, you will notice that it should fit, giving you enough space away from that inner score line and a white border top and bottom. Apply glue and glue this down. Okay, I got both mine down here. Let's see. I'm going to grab the blue album here. It's handy. So we're going to attach this. And what we're going to do is you have an inside score line and an outside score line. On the outside one, let's pinch on it. Okay? We're going to hook that to the front of our base page and make sure that we are straight. As straight as we can anyway. Okay? It's right back behind, as you can see. So once you have it where you want, you pinch and hold it. If you feel it slip, you're going to need to realign it. Start over and realign that. So I'm going to do some quick tacking with my hot glue gun. I don't recommend this for your first time because hot glue can seep. Or use your regular glue. Okay. Now you can push it back on its hinge there. And that is what you should have. Okay, really quick, those of you that actually have the frame here and no die cuts, what you can do is a couple things here. If you do not like the big white, okay, at the end of the tutorial, with what's left over, you can cut pieces of decorative paper to go around this front panel to give more color. Another thing you can do is get ribbon, for instance, and you can place your ribbon around the edges. Cut and glue your ribbon around and then put a little bow or something in the corner. So that is an idea for you guys. All right, so I'm going to get my other one ready to go. Let's finish up this page. In your reserves, you will have this sheet. On the back, it looks like this. Let's cut out this panel here with the baby shoes. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to fussy cut around the little booties, and I'll show you mine. This is what mine looks like. Okay, grab a scrap piece of paper. We're going to apply glue. We're going to glue that down, and then we're going to cut out and around, leaving just a hair of white outlining the booties. So let's do that. I have mine done. Now, one thing you can do is if you have any of the 3D pop-ups or anything like that, you can actually put these on the back and put it down for a 3D effect. It is not necessary. I did not call for that in the materials list. However, and we'll just place that right like that. However, it is kind of a neat little addition. Otherwise, you can just glue that right on down. For now, this page is complete. We may come revisit this page again after we get into the album a little bit more, but for now, we are done. So what you're going to want to do is flip over your album to the back side, and we're going to apply score tape. You can use your 1/4 inch or your 3/8, whatever you'd like. We're going to go around the back like a picture frame to start. Next, we'll do one right down the middle here. And we'll go one on either side. Now it's completely up to you if you'd like to use more score tape in here, or if you'd just like to do a thin line of glue in there. Me, I'm leaving it as it is. When I place my score tape in certain ways, it doesn't seem to have any bubbling. So I'm going to finish up doing this one. Now, one thing is we will not be placing our page 1 into our album until we complete our page 2. So for now, let's stick this off to the side. We are now on page 2. We're on page 2, and I had you set aside our page 2. For now, we're just going to set this off to the side and get our stuff ready for this. Cut a piece of cardstock that is 4 1/8 inch by 11 inches. And then we're going to grab our scoring board, and we're going to score it right in half at 5 1/2 inches. Okay? This is where the Lawn Fawn pop-up die comes into play, and the one I want is this one. Those of you that do not have a die, you'll just bypass this. You'll see how this comes together. You'll still be able to do something similar, just not have the pop-up. So these are all kind of connected with little metal pieces. I just took my little snips and snipped it off. But this is the one. Notice that there is a line. This is fatter. This is approximately 1 inch wide. And it is about 1 1/2 this way. But it does have the little score line that is up here. So that's the one we're going to be using. Now, what you want to do is see these little brackets on the outside? This is so simple, and it's fun to actually use these. So these line up right on our score line. Okay, so when you place this, we're going to place it so it's face down, and the longer piece is here. We're going to center this in the middle, and we're going to run this through our die cutter. Those of you that do not have the pop-up die or die cutter, you'll just fold on your score line. I'm going to zoom in. My scoring line that I scored is right here. And turn it around to where that little score line from that is up here. What you're going to do is carefully push back behind with your finger, and you're going to pop that up, and it's going to fold on that upper score line as well as in here. And you can put your finger back behind to help that. If you need to turn it around to help that, you can do that as well. But what you're going to end up having is this. It's like a little step stair, okay? And once you have that, fold it out like that. Now you can fold this down, line up your sides, make sure. Grab your bone folder and smooth it out. Okay? So now when you open it up, the little step is here and the bigger one is here. Isn't that cool? All right, so we're going to fold this down. Again, when we're folding toward us, the little step is up high. Grab that piece of cardstock that I had you set aside for this page. Okay, if you were to lay it down, you will notice, and we're going to flip this over to the pink side, you will notice that you will have if you bring it up, you can have a little bit of white border here. You'll have a little white border on the sides, and we are going to use our pencil to just make a little pencil mark there so we know where to trim this. So let's trim that down. Those of you that do not have the pop-up, you'll still do the same thing. This handy. Now what we're going to do is we're going to apply glue to this, and we're going to glue it down. However, you do not want to get glue on this part here. So it might be easier to apply the glue around this area like so to start. And then you'll know, okay, I'll start it here, and then as far as the rest, you can just apply it to this and kind of see where you need to come down to. Now, if you are not sure if you've got glue in the right place, again, what you can do is grab a piece of thin cardstock. I think we can do that. Slide it back behind, if you can get one to fit in there. Oh, I think I got a couple pieces. But at least you can put something back behind by sliding it like that. So now we're just going to place this. So I'm going to open this, and I look good there. Okay? It's time to get our paper for in here. In your reserves, you will find this sheet. On the back, it looks like this. Let's cut from the side all the way around this piece here. I'm going to be putting this on my paper cutter, so I'll just cut this way and this way. And I'll show you what mine looks like. So I cut mine out, and notice that I have some of the white still left over. Okay? Looks cute. Alright, so what I want to do is to place this. As far as the width, what we're going to do is measure in about 1/8 of an inch, or actually measure from the side of this pink 1/8 of an inch over to the left and cut. So now what we're trying to do is get the width to fit in here, still having a little bit of a border and stuff. So one thing we're going to have to do now is trim this off. So we'll just trim off this white little piece here. Okay, those of you that are not doing the pop-up, what you will do at this point is bring that up, leaving a little bit of a white border. Use your pencil mark and trim it to fit the top panel here. Okay? Those of us that use the pop-up die, what we're going to do is we're just going to lay that right on down. Okay? We're going to do the same, however, we'll make a pencil mark here, and we will make sure you're straight when you do this. We'll make one here, and that is about a 1/16 of an inch up from the little score line going across. Now, here, where that cut is, you see that? We're just going to make pencil marks here, lined up with those lines. Okay? That's all we're going to do. So, grab your scissors. I gotta find mine. Where did they go? There they are. So we're first going to cut over until we meet that line, as even as we can anyway, and then we will cut up. If we need to do more trimming, we will. Just cut right on over. Okay, let's measure up now where we need to be. So I'm going to tell you what mine is going to be from that point. And just by laying your ruler at the top of that slit, okay, and I'm going to go over here, it's going to be easier. top of that slit, placing this back down, we know that we need to cut up. Here I'm showing about 7/8 of an inch up. Okay, so I'm going to take my ruler, line it up, make a little pencil mark here and here where I need to cut up to. So that should be fairly easy there. If you cut up a little bit farther than you should, that's okay. Okay, let's see. If I was to place this now and have this come out, you should be able to have that little lip there. Let's fold that. Slide it down and then over that little piece. Does that make sense? I hope so. So I am going to apply glue. Now when you do this, remember, you're going to have to get glue on this and make sure it sticks down. And we're going to place it as it's sitting up, and then we'll lay it down. All right, here we go. Place some glue in there. Hold it up to make sure I get it down all the way. And it's pretty straight here, and I'm going to show you mine. Kind of slid it down. It's on that, and I'm going to press down there. Now, before I go and try to close this, I want to make sure it's down on that really good. Okay, so now I'm going to close it, and you're going to press. Okay? And that's what you should have. Alright, so I found a perfect place to store this about me. Now I'm going to cut mine down. I'm cutting mine down to where it fits. And when I place this, it should fit and leave a little bit of a white border side to side. But I am about 1/8 of an inch out from the step there. About 1/8. Yep. And I'm going to glue mine down right here. So this seems like the perfect place for it. Now, if you don't want to put your About Me here, what you'll do is you'll wait for the end of the tutorial and you will place a piece of leftover decorative cardstock down. Okay? We still have our little baby frame that we want to place right here for the pop-up. So let's get this done, and then we're going to hunt down our little stuff to add for the pop-up. I had you set aside this little cutting that we had off of that one main page there. So what I'm going to do is I am going to stick this right there. I'm going to make a pencil mark, and I'm going to trim it. Then what I'm going to do is come over and do the same thing over here. And I will trim it to fit. And then I'm going to glue that down. Also, really quick, before I grab the little frame we're going to do on the pop-up, the leftovers from when you cut here, you can cut a strip right here too to lay it down in front. Just wanted to let you know that that is an option or an idea. In reserves, you will have a piece like this with envelopes. Actually, they look like funny little four-cornered things. Those are actually envelopes. But up here you will find this frame. Let's cut this frame out. Okay, we do have to cut these down a little bit, but cut a piece of cardstock that is 3 7/8 inch by 4 3/8 inch. And what we're going to want to do is we're going to place this down, and you'll notice it's even from side to side. Well, thereabouts anyway, depending on where you cut around on your frame. So what we want to do is just bring this over to where you have a border on the side that matches the border top and bottom. So whatever that is. Okay, we're going to have to do some trimming. So I'm going to start here by trimming a little bit off the side. I'm going to start with a 1/16 of an inch over here and then check to see if that works. Okay, I do need to trim down a little bit more, so I want my frame to be even on each side. So I'm just going to take a sliver off on this side. And I just did that. Now, when I place this, that should be good. What's going to happen is I'm going to be gluing this to the cardstock, and then we will be gluing it back here. So this will flip down. When it's closed, you won't be able to see it. And then when we flip it up, we have the About Me, and this is where we place a photo of our little one. Okay? So that's, and you just place your photo right over this, and you have the little borders. And then we have a couple things to cut out to decorate. Okay, so I'm going to place mine like this. I'm going to add the glue just to this part. I'm going to put this in the center so that I know that it's not going to stick out the side. So once you have it in the center, now close it and press. Okay, closed. I'm going to do this view. It comes up and it's popped out and looks cute. Okay, I'm going to get this one now. And it may be easier, a tip is if you don't stick it all the way down, just leave a little bit of a white showing there. Okay. Now with this, we will be using brads and a tab to slide over to keep this shut. But let's grab a few things to decorate. In your reserves, you will find this print. On the back, it's this. Let's cut out this panel here that has the little baby carriage and the heart. We're just going to cut that out. Actually, I'm going to put it on my paper cutter so I get a straight cut. If you're doing the boy one, you have the same thing. And then we're going to use put it on our paper cutter to get a straight line. Okay, we're not going to back these in white cardstock. We're just going to glue these right on down. Okay, make sure your edges are down really good there. Okay, I've got this. Now, this should fit right here, okay, without covering this up. We're going to apply glue. Now, when you apply glue, don't get it in here if you've got the pop-up. Just going to go around here. And I'm going to place it down so I don't cover up the baby there. Try to keep straight. That's cute. That really is adorable. Okay, I'm going to turn it over. Press. Okay, I've got both mine down here. You're going to need a brad for this next step. So, now I had you keep the back sheet of your paper pack. So what we're going to do here is this first row of squares, we're just going to cut right in between the large square and the smaller half cut off one. We're just going to take a strip off there, and I'll show you mine. Okay, I'm going to put that in reserves, don't need it right now. So for now, all I'm going to do is I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4 squares, and I'm going to cut. I can cut this down later if needed. Okay, this is going to go back in my reserves. All right, let's fold this in half. Okay, so all we need to do is make sure that this will at least grab on to this. But because this is from the cover, the first thing I want to do is just glue these together. Just put some glue and glue them together. We are going to back it with some 110-pound cardstock, and then we'll cut. But right now, this is all I want to do. So I'm going to grab a scratch piece of my white cardstock. I'll apply glue to this. And there's no border. I'm just going to lay it down there. And I will cut out and around. And we'll check to see if that is thick enough. and I think that that's good. I lost my brad somewhere in the process. Here it is. So what you want to do is place it so at least one of your squares is on to this. Okay, this brad is going to go right in the center of this one, the other one, so right here. Okay, I'm going to just pull it up a little so I know where my brad is supposed to place on the paper. I'm going to push this through. Now, you may want to use your little knife, but be careful not to slice your paper. Use your pin from your glue tip, something to get that started without tearing your paper. And again, I lost my little brad, so I'm going to use the tip of my pen here just to get that, help get that going. Here we go. Make sure I can get my brad through there, and it does. Next thing is we have to poke a hole in that. So for me, if you have a heavy duty punch, great. If not, I'm just gonna twirl here. Looks like I'm going through, so I need to be careful. Just enough until you can get your brad through there. Okay. Make sure that that's going to work. It does? Okay. So for this, you're going to want to have it so it can twirl. So not too tight, but not too loose. So we're going to try this out by bending these back. Now try it. Can you move it and open it? Can you push it back? And does it stay? Mine does. Just like that. So let's finish up on doing that. And back here, we'll put score tape or a little bit of glue right now would be good. Let's also grab a little flower, just a single small one or medium, as long as it isn't too bulky. I'm using the small 10 Holtz ones, and I have placed some robin's egg ink. And I'm just going to place that flower right here. Alrighty, so now what we can do is we can flip these over. Page 2 is complete. We're going to apply score tape around the outside like a picture frame, one down the middle, one on either side. And then we're going to mount page 2 in our book together. And then we'll mount page 1 together. So this is what mine looks like. And I am going to place score tape over the brad. Alrighty, I have my album here. Here's our page 1 and here's our page 2. And the reason why we plant page 2 first is because we need to line up page 1 with the top of that. Our chipboard covers are bigger than our inner pages. So the easiest way, because we do have white cardstock, is if you were to grab one of your pieces out of your reserves and just slide it back behind your first page, you can actually see the edges better. So I'm going to remove the score tape, and before I do that, really quick for everyone that is new here, what I'm going to be doing is placing this down. Now when I place this down, I am going to steer clear from my little hinge. And I like to move in 1/8 of an inch in when placing this down. And that will give us a nice little white frame around our page, and it will keep us clear of that. So I'm going to remove my score tape. Okay, so take your time with this. And all you're going to do is just make sure you're 1/8 inch in approximately from the side, and that you are going to be laying straight as you can anyway. Okay, once you have it down, turn your little latch here, open it up, and press. And make sure you press really good around those edges. This one I'm going to bring over and center in between the hinge here and the hinge right here. And I'm going to try to line it up with the top and bottom of this one. So I'm going to remove my score tape. Now, keep in mind, if you have any score tape that is peeking over the edges of your paper, you do want to make sure that you remove it. And I think that's a pretty good fit. Just do the best you can. So once you have it planted down, you do need to open it up and press really good. Okay, for this, got a piece of cardstock that is 1.5 inch by 6 3/4, and then we're going to lay our score tape. So I got my score tape down, and I'm going to remove the backing there, and I am going to place this centered from top to bottom, making sure I am not in that little crease there. And then I'm just going to place it down. And when we get towards the end of the book, we'll be doing that too. We'll do something similar like this. So just place it, and I think that's good. And then use your bone folder to make sure that those edges are down. So page 1 and 2 are in our book. We are now on to page 3. We're on page 3, and in your paper pack you will find this print for the girls, and you'll find this print for the boys. They are similar. On the back, they are the same. Okay, so we're going to start this off, and I'm just going to double these up because it is the same cut. We're going to measure over 6 inches and cut. Okay, these pieces here we're going to stick off in our reserve for now. Okay, I'm just going to double these up because the cut is the same, as you can see. Just slightly different on the picture. Measure over 8 inches and cut. Cut a piece of cardstock that is 6 inches by 6 1/8 inch. Then let's get our scoring board out. We are 6 1/8 across the board. We're going to score at 5 1/2 and then 5 5/8. And then we'll fold on our score lines there. Okay, our flap is going to be off to the left on this one. We're going to punch with our large punch right on this side. So score lines on there. So we'll punch across this side. Grab that piece of cardstock that we set off to the side here that belongs to this. That was the end of the cut. We're going to look at it like this and measure over 5 3/4 inch and cut. After you've cut this, we're going to apply glue to this side, and we are going to glue that down. And that should leave us, oh sorry, Sissy's barking at something. That should leave us a white border around. So if you're working with the girl album, this is what you would be gluing down there. So let's do that. If you are working with the boy album, you can now flip that over and your hinge is off to the right. The girls, we're going to flip that over, hinge off to the right. In your reserves, you will have this piece. So what we're going to do, and it's like this, is we're just going to turn it upside down. Measure over 8 inches and cut. Before we get farther than we need to, what I want you to do is set this off to the side for your page 4. This is for your page 4 as well. These. Now we have these, and I wanted to use these. So this one goes with the blue, this one goes with the pink. So just double these up. If you're building 2, double them up. If not, just look at your sheet like this, measure over 5 3/4 inch and make sure that you are fitting. If so, apply glue and glue those down. Okay. We're not quite ready to glue these or attach these yet. So let's just take these and set them off to the side. In the meantime, in your reserves, you will find these prints. They're 2 little tags, and then we have a little cutoff here. On the back, it looks like this. Let's cut up and around this tag here. Stick these leftovers back in your reserves. So what you're going to want to do is look in your reserves for a white piece of cardstock that you can apply glue and glue this down, and we are going to leave a little bit of a white border around it. So let's glue it down and cut out and around our pieces. So this is what mine look like. Okay, what we're going to do here is just apply a little bit of glue back underneath. So we'll apply it back to the edge underneath here and up one side. And we'll just place that right like that. That is so cute. Okay, here's the girl one. Okay, so what that does for us, it allows us to still be able to slide something back and behind, to use it like a pocket. It's time to attach this. So you have an inside score line and an outside. On the outside one, pinch it. And we're just going to hook that back behind like we have before. Make sure you are straight. Pinch and hold it. If you feel it move, then you will want to, I'm going to use my glue here, then you'll want to readjust it. You'll get quicker at this. If it feels awkward, if this is your first time, maybe second or third time making an album and it feels awkward, after a while you'll get used to it. And you'll kind of learn as you go, just like I did. Okay, so once you've done that, then you can push it back on its hinge. In your reserves, you will find this. It has the buggy cut out, top right. On the back, it looks like this. I am after this buggy, so I'm just going to cut out and around this. Alrighty. Don't glue nothing down here. It's just laying that there. Next thing is, down in the lower right-hand corner, cut this one out. So your little tag should look like this. We're going to apply glue, and we're going to place this at the bottom slightly at an angle. Just like that. So when this comes over, it'll look like it's like this. We are covering up the birds, sorry. If you don't want to, you don't have to, but I thought this would be very cute. Now to just place this. Make a small bow with your ribbon, and we are going to glue that down right here. Grab one of your flat back pearls, and it may be easier just to use a little hot glue back behind so your ribbon doesn't come undone. Just be careful, and place your flat back pearl. So this page is designed, you can journal right on this, but more or less for pictures. If you don't want to put any picture over here, just leave the print. It's cute. Or you could put one on top of that. It is solely up to you. If it were my album, I'd probably want to keep some of the artwork there and use this to either plant a large photo here, or actually a large photo here, maybe some picture mats stacked in there as well. Okay, let's flip this over. We're going to do score tape around the outside like a picture frame, one down the middle, one on either side, and we're going to mount this in our book. Okay, I have my book open. I have the girl one here. It belongs on page 3. We read this like a book, page 1, page 2, page 3. We're going to stay 1/8 inch away from the hinge area, and we're going to try to center this top to bottom. Okay, so once you have it down, open it up. Make sure you use your fingers and smooth that down really good. And that looks really nice. Okay, we are now on to page 4. We did not get a lot of bulk here on page 3 because there's things that I wanted to do here. So I needed to keep this page flatter. And I'll show you my page 3 on my boy book in just a moment. There's my page 3. We are on page 4. I had you set these off to the side. Here's our page 4 for the boy and the girl. Cut a piece of cardstock that is 6 inches by 8 3/4 inches. And then we will get our scoring board out. We are 8 3/4 inches across the board. At 8 inches, we're going to score. And you may need your ruler for this one. At 8 1/16, just a hair, you're going to score again. So I need my pencil. 8 1/16. So I know where that's going to line up. It's very narrow, so take your time at creasing on it. Okay, you have an inside score line and an outside score line. On your inside one, we are going to pinch on it and bring that flap all the way to the back. So all we're looking at is what we need to cover with paper. Grab one of the covers of your paper pack. We're going to turn it like this. We're going to measure over 5 7/8 of an inch and cut. Stick the bottom half in your reserves. Now measure over 7 7/8 of an inch and cut. Once you've done that, just place it down to verify that you are going to fit, leaving a white border around. Do not worry about this down here. That gets covered. Okay, got both of mine ready to go. What we're going to do is take these and set them off to the side for now. We can't glue these down just yet. Now we're going to flip these over, and the hinge should be off to our right. Grab back out the bottom half to your cover. With the hinge now, I want you to pinch it on the inside and put it back onto the other side. So all you're looking at is what needs to be covered. Take your piece and bring it down so you can see side to side. But what you're going to try to do is center the baby boy within the white cardstock. Okay, so do not worry about anything showing over here. We're going to be covering that. So just do the best you can as far as this. So when you come over here to make your pencil mark where to cut, you're going to come in about a 1/16 of an inch from that edge. Now we're going to trim it. So let's do that. Keep your cutting, your leftover cutting. Verify that you're going to fit. Place it up to where you have the borders on each side. Now what you're going to do is come down to the bottom, make a pencil mark, and trim. And that should give us a polka dotted little trim piece there. That little trim piece you are going to want to hang on to. Place this down and verify that you're going to fit. And I do. Take this piece and run it and glue it down on top to hide the scrapbooking. So let's do that. Now if you're doing the girl one, you won't have polka dots. You'll just have a pink piece, and we're going to glue that down just like that. Let's set our base sheets off to the side because we're just going to be working with this for now. We're going to set these off to the side while we get ready for our pocket. Okay, in your scraps from when you were cutting this base sheet, you should have a long piece of white cardstock. It's 11 inches long and approximately 2.5 inches wide here. We are going to punch along the long side with this. We're going to create a nice little pocket here. So what you're going to want to do, and I'm using my 1/4 inch, is we're going to lay a strip at the bottom of our piece here that we've been working on. And then we're going to place this pocket. Now, one thing is you definitely want to make sure that your score tape is down. You don't want to get any air in there. If that happens, your pocket can lift. So as long as you're using your bone folder, you should be okay. Okay, next step. Let's remove the score tape backing. And what I like to do is just give this a little bit of a bend. Just a little bend. And I'm just going to bring it down to the bottom. Place it. I'm going to start in the middle and I'm going to smooth it outward. You may see this kind of slightly pop up when you do that. Okay, we don't need that much overhang, so we're just going to trim that off just a little. We do need overhang, but definitely not that much bulk. So all we do here is wrap this around the back, and I'm going to use my hot glue gun for quick tacking. I think we can get that over here. And I'll wrap that back behind. And you should have a nice little pocket. In your reserves, you should have this back sheet. We're going to cut and divide, take this whole piece off. And I'll show you what mine looks like. So here's mine for the girl album, here's mine for the boy album. This is so simple. This should fit exactly. And all we're going to do is lay it down, use our pencil, make a pencil mark, and cut. Keep these two little pieces. Okay, apply glue and glue that down. Okay. Grab your fold out here, and you're looking at it so your tab is off to the right. We're going to apply glue to the back of this and mount that. Now remember, when you mount that, you'll want to center it in between that inner score line and the outer. So you should be, if you can see mine, I am clear of that. If you get it too far over, it is not going to work for you like it's supposed to. So I'm going to add glue and get this down. In your reserves, you will find this on the back. It looks like this. Let's first cut out and get the baby bottle one, and we also want this one, the little wreath. And same for the boy. Okay, so here's what you want to do. You'll cut out and around this. Then you're going to cut your baby bottle out. But when you cut, this is how the baby bottle was. Come up from the side and don't cut into that so that you're left with one piece. Okay? Then what you're going to do once you've done that is you'll turn it around. You're going to apply glue to this, and you're going to bring it up so you have just a little bit of a border of that blue around there. And then we're going to trim this so that it's a very small frame around it. So I'm going to show you, and I don't know exactly where this is going to hit, so I do want some cardstock to go back behind, some scratch, definitely. Now, what I'm going to do is trim this. So now it looks like this. Next, what I'm going to do is look in my reserves for a white piece of cardstock. I'm going to apply glue to the back of this. Make sure you get where that slit is too. And I'm going to place it on white cardstock, leaving about 1/16 of an inch of white showing. Now I'm going to cut out and around it. Voila. Okay, now for the bottle. Apply glue onto white cardstock and cut out and around it, leaving a little bit of white border. I'll show you mine. And you know, I'm not the greatest fussy cutter, and I really don't think you need to be on this. I highly doubt people are going to notice any uneven edges. I just don't think that they will. But just do the best you can. That's all we can do. There's mine. Not the best, but it's okay. I'm going to apply some glue to this. And I'm just going to place it right down like this. Just like that. Okay, let's see here. Right like this, I think. However, I want to still utilize it for a small little pocket. So I'm just going to place some up here, down, partial here. You're definitely going to need to place something back behind because the glue is going to come over and get on some of this. So we'll just place it slightly at an angle. Okay, should still be able to get something back behind, maybe a little tag or something. It's time to attach this to our book. So let's grab our base sheet. Remember, flap is off to the left. On the outside score line, as best you can anyway, because 1/16 of an inch is not much, especially when you're trying to score that. We're just going to hook it on so that it is straight, as straight as we can anyway. Once you have that, then you can glue it down. I'm out of hot glue sticks. I gotta go get some here in a second. Hopefully I didn't get mine on crooked. Okay, that looks good to me. I'm going to get the little girl one going now. So that should give you some time to catch up. That is cute. So we're going to close this up. That's what the girl one looks like. Grab your pieces that belong to the outside, and we are going to set all of this off to the side. We need to make our other fold out that goes on top of it. Cut a piece of cardstock that is 6 inches by 7 inches, and then let's get our scoring board out. We are 6 or 7 inches across the board. At 6 inches, we're going to score, and at 6, and let's go 6 1/8 of an inch, we're going to score. And then here's our score line. On this side, along the side here, and our score line's here, we're going to punch across. So let's do that. Alright, so my hinge is off to the right here. Let's grab our piece back out and make sure that you are going the right way, that you don't have it upside down. We're going to attach this. So move back so you can feel it's flat on the side and hook it back behind. Pinch it and add glue to your hinge. Okay, so that's what you should have. Let's close this. Grab your piece that goes here. Slide it in. Now make sure that you are lined up to where you have a white border even around it, as best you can anyway. Now pull this down on top. In between where this flap is, the trim, and the side here, I want you to make a pencil mark, right like that. You see? It's in between the edge and the edge of the paper there. So if you're working on the girl album, same thing. Again, do not worry about that bottom part where it says Stamperia or Estamperia. So in between, now on the girl one, we have the little girl right here. So what I'm going to do is come down on the girl one, and I'm going to do it right here underneath her, so I don't cover up the girl. All right, so that's the only differences there. We can now take this piece out, set that off to the side, and where's my stick pin? We're going to need a brad. I'm going to stick it right through there. Make a hole. Let's grab our brad. Matters not what color you use. I really don't think it does anyway. I got some gold ones. And I'm just going to stick it through so it goes through. And let's look in our reserve for what we need. In your reserves you will find this. It has a tag on it and it has this. On the back it looks like this. Also in your reserves you're going to find a piece like this. It's striped on the back. And this, if you measure it up to here, this is about how long it is. That might be easier. Okay, you're going to need that. Girls, same thing. Okay, so what we need off this one is, you see this right here? We're just going to cut that right on out. And there is another piece to the puzzle here, but let's just do these so it's not overwhelming. So that's what I cut out, that little strip that was down there. Put this back in your reserves. Okay. The boy one, same thing, and you'll have the little birds. Look in your scrap pile of white cardstock for a long piece. If I was to place this down, and it's approximately, let's see, about 2.5 inches this way, and I think it's 11 inches this way. So what you want to do is place your piece down. You should have a 1/2 inch over here, and you're going to have a 1/2 inch over here. So that's what you need to do. Same thing for the girls. Okay, what you're going to want to do is punch along the long side. All right, grab your scoring board, and I'm going to turn mine like this. Where did my little tool go? It's hiding. At a 1/2 inch, score as best you can. And you'll want to flip this around, I believe, and you'll score 1/2 inch there. Then turn it and a 1/2 inch down here. Okay. Take your scissors, cut out that little square, if you can. And now we're just going to fold on those score lines. It's like the same way we did the other pocket. Okay. I have a better piece in mind than this, so put these back in reserves. Okay, so once you've folded like this, we're going to use a different one. We're going to fold in the sides, do our glue, grab scratch piece cardstock, you got it, place it in there, pull in our sides, and pull this up. Alright, we have a piece to get. That one wasn't the best one. In your reserves on the back cutting of the paper pad, we have the perfect strip right here. So let's cut in between the solid blue and the heart trim all the way down. This is a measure to fit, so just place this right there at the bottom. Use your pencil, make a mark, and trim. Apply glue and glue that down. Okay, these pieces here, set them off to the side, or set your blue one off to the side, or your pink, whichever one you're working with. Alright, for this, we still have these to work with. I'm going to just slide this so you can see exactly what I'm doing. grab your score tape. I'm going to be using my 3/8 across the bottom here. The rest I'm going to be using is glue. And I'm going to come down here and I'm going to place this. Make sure you use that. Make sure you get that down back there. Perfect. So that's what you should have. Okay, for this, we're going to bend that in half. Same if you're doing the girl album. We're going to apply glue to the inside. And we're going to paste that shut so it's doubled up. And then we're going to need some white cardstock to mount behind that to stiffen it up a bit. So all I'm doing now is I'm looking in my reserve. I got myself a piece of white cardstock to mount behind it to make it stiffer. And now I'm going to cut out and around and there is no white border on this. Alrighty, so grab a pencil and just make a little mark on it, little circle mark. And now what we're going to do is poke a hole through that. Verify you can get that through there. And then we're just going to poke that right on through. Slide that right on in. Pull your brads back. Before gluing, since you have the brads back now, before gluing, we're going to double check to make sure you have that tight enough. Move it to the side. Now, is that going to be too loose? That looks like it's going to be way too loose for me, so I'm going to tighten up my brad by pushing and making sure that that is tighter. Much better. Okay, so once you've done that, apply glue to the back of this and glue that down. Okay, so these were the cuttings off of the cover. For the girls, it's a little different on the cover. As you can see, it says acid-free, acid-free. The girls, we're going to cut out and around this one. And you can put this one in reserve. For the boys, oh, what do I want to use? I think I want to use the pacifier. And this can go back in reserves. Find a piece of scratch cardstock, apply glue, glue that down, and leave yourself just a little bit of a white border when you're cutting out around it. Alrighty, so what we're going to do is attach this. I'm going to leave my bird showing, so I'm going to stick a piece of scratch cardstock behind, and I'll apply glue to the area next to the birds. There we go. Same goes over here. And there you have it. Okay, in your reserves, you will find this, the striped. On the back, it looks like this. What you're going to want to do is you'll need your pencil. You're going to place this down so that you still can see a white border on the side. You're going to come over to the side here, make a pencil mark where you need to trim, and also down here. Our first cut will be across the bottom and then this way. Verify that you are going to fit, giving yourself a wide border. If you do, apply glue and glue that down. In your reserves, you will find this piece. On the back, it looks like that. we're going to cut up and around this small piece right here. So let's do that. Those little trimmings, the white pieces around this that we had, you'll want to keep that. And be sure to cut your little notches out there. My workspace keeps getting smaller and smaller. Oh my gosh. Okay, grab your scoring board. It will make it a lot easier. Line up your little sides right here and just score. Over here, you're going to do the same. Make sure you're lined up as best you can. And same thing here. Just do the best you can. Okay, let's fold. All right, so you're going to want to fold in your sides, and this will be the one coming down on the top. So all I'm going to do is add a little glue right under this lip here, or right on that lip. Then I'm going to add glue right here. Be careful not to get it inside. It might be helpful if you slide a piece of scratch cardstock in there so you do not, you know, get your envelope here stuck. Right, so grab your page here, and all we're going to do is we're going to have it at an angle a little bit like that. So I just want to get the bottom and a little bit up on the side. And you don't want it hanging over the edge. So this will be for a pocket back behind, as well as in here you can store baby's first tooth, or, you know, first haircut, or some little pictures can go inside there. I have another idea that I wanted to use and do for baby's first tooth and the baby's first haircut. And we'll get into that as we go in, so you'll have a choice on what you would like to do. Now here's another idea that I just thought about that is that would be kind of neat to do. So what I want you to do is take a brad and just poke it right on through, right there. And you can tuck this back behind. Where's my other one? Okay, string. If you have some string or some very fine lace or ribbon, cut a 4.5 inch piece of string. And we had some clippings I said to hold on to. So this is where I want to use a little hot glue. And all I'm going to do is just put a little hot glue there and place the bottom portion of that down so that it's up. I'm going to take this, measure over how much I need. And I'm going to glue that down. You may have to hold it for a moment there. And then you can just wrap that right on around and it will hold that down. Just like that. Let's open up to the inside and get our paper for right in here. Let's grab the other covers. And I'm going to do this with the blue, and then I'll show on the pink. Up here, first off, you will notice that the covers are different. In the upper right-hand corner of the pink, we have this pattern, and on the boys, we have this. So what we're going to do is we'll just open this up. We're going to lay this down so that we can have a white border on the top and a little on the side. We need our pencil. You should be able to see your inside score line and your outside. So you're going to go just to the right of that score line so we don't get on it. So we're going to cut. Down here, we're going to make a pencil mark this way. So our first cut's going to be straight down and then over. For the girls, we're going to do the same thing. Okay, so this is what we are going to have here. The boys will look like this. The girls will look like this. Let's apply glue and glue that down. I had to stick aside these cuttings. This is perfect. We're just going to lay it here at the bottom. And we will measure to fit and cut. Okay, we are going to make a small little indent or a little pocket. Grab a piece of your scratch cardstock. We're going to apply glue to our piece. And we're just going to glue it down, leaving a little bit of a white lip border at the top. Now all we're going to do is cut that and keep it straight. Okay. So you're going to want to use your glue for this, and a little bit of glue here and the bottom. I like to give mine just a little bend. We don't want it puckered out too much. And we're going to do the same for the blue one. In your reserves, you should find this sheet on the back. It looks like this. Let's cut the panel with the teacup out on both of them. All right, let's stick this back in reserves. If yours came apart, that's fine. Those of us that have ours in one piece, we're just going to make sure that we all stay together just in case, and we're going to clip these apart. Okay, we are going to fussy cut around the little teacup. Stick your leftover cuttings in reserves just in case we need that. We're going to apply glue to the back of this and glue it down to white cardstock and cut up and around that to give it some strength. Okay, so I've got mine. All I'm going to do is just add a little glue right down here. And voila. This page is complete. Like I said before, we may be coming back and visiting, possibly adding some flowers or adding something else to some of these pages. So this is what yours should look like. Very cute. Let's flip it over. Score tape goes around the outside like a picture frame. One down the middle, one on either side. If you need to add a little glue, if you find, do so. And then go ahead and mount that in your book. Very cute. Look at that. Okay, I'm going to place my blue one, and I'll be right back. I got the blue one in. Isn't that cute? We are now on to page 5 and 6, and these we're going to do together because they are identical. Well, pretty much identical. We are on page 5 and 6, and in your paper pack, Sissy, shh, you will find this print on the back. It looks like this. So in order for us to get the same cuts, we're going to be cutting from this side, even though we want the other side. Okay? So what we're going to do is look at our paper like this. We're going to measure over 6 inches and cut. Alrighty, so you have this. You're going to double it up like this, and you're going to measure over 8 inches and cut. For the boys, you're doing the same thing. You will double these up, measure over 8 inches and cut. These smaller pieces that you have left over are going to go in our reserves. So we're just going to flip these right back over. So we are building this together, both pages at once. So I'm going to scoot the pink ones out of the way here. You won't be doing that, but I will be working with the blue, which is going to be exactly the same as the pink. We're going to need to get into our cardstock. I have 2 sets of instructions here. If you are die cutting, you will cut a piece that is 5" by 7". Let's start with the die cutters. Die cutters, I am in the Intricate Swirl Frames die. On your 5 by 7 piece of cardstock, you're just going to place this down. It should fit exactly in there. And you are going to die cut this. Now, die cutters, you're going to want to do 2 of these. Okay, 1 for each page side. Once you have done that, this other piece that is in the same die, this, you're going to place that right inside there and run that through the die cutter on both of these. Die cutters, once you've done that, you should be left with this and also this. Isn't that pretty? Okay. Non-die cutters, what you are going to do is cut a piece of cardstock as well, 5 by 7. You're going to need your pencil and your ruler. What you're going to do is measure down approximately 5/8 of an inch, make a pencil mark, and you'll do this over here too, so you're going to need to cut a frame, inside frame, and we're going to be 5/8 of an inch all the way around here. And we're just going to draw lines to keep us straight there. And you'll do a light pencil line. And I'll erase any pencil marks that I don't need to see. Now, using your craft knife, cut that out. And you will need to do 2 of these. So this is what you should have, and you can place this in your reserves. All right, we're going to get into our little plastic piece. What you're going to want to do is, looking at your piece, you're 11 inches across, measure over 5 inches and cut, measure over again 5 inches and cut. Okay, I'm just going to double mine right up because I need 2 of them for the boy album, or you'll need 2 for the girl. Measure over 7 inches and cut. It is hard for you to see, but I have my plastic down. For die cutters, what you're going to do is apply glue on the back side, just along the edges here, to get these to stick down, as well as this and this. And you're going to bring it to the bottom and try to center that side by side and glue those down. And you'll do it on both of yours. Those of you that hand cut your frame, you will do the same. Glue around the edges only, and place that down at the bottom, side to side, and glue that down. Die cutters, once you have this down, you'll definitely want to clean up any glue. One way to check everyone is to hold it up against the light and see if you have any glue smudges. Die cutters, we are going to do the same thing to this, and use your glue sparingly, and you will place this down in the center, and then you will sop up any glue. So let's do that. Okay, I got mine down on one side so far, and I'm going to work towards the other side. Die cutters, have some patience in blotting up your glue smudges. For those of you that are not die cutting, hang tight. Alrighty, so it is time to get this pocket down. What you're going to want to do is a fine line of glue here, enough so it will stick, and down here, leaving the top open. And I'm going to give mine a bend. Position it, press, and push up. So I have a little bit of a lip popped up here. just like that. That is gorgeous. Same thing on the other side. All right, die cutters. These pieces that you had left over in that same die, whoops, I gotta clean this out. But in that same die pack, you will have this. Place this right in the center there, side to side, so it fits. Run it through the die cutter on both of these, and that will save you some paper. And what you're gonna get is 2 of these. Okay? Non-die cutters, we will get to you as soon as we get our next piece together. Let's look in our reserve for this piece. It's the cover, and it has a little outfit there. So we're just going to cut this little section out like so. If you are not die cutting, what you're going to do is fussy cut out and around the little outfit here. We're also going to try and salvage the word baby. So I'm just going to follow this along as best I can without cutting into my little outfit. To get the word baby out. Okay, once I do that, then I can kind of trim this up to make it more squared up. We'll be doing that. You're cutting the little girl one out. You do take a little piece out of her dress. All you have to do is, if you're fussy cutting that out, is kind of smooth it out a little with your scissors. Die cutters, you have the option of fussy cutting yours out as well. I am going to use the little bracket or the little die plate that actually fits inside this. And this is how I have it placed for the girl one, and I'm going to die cut that out so I'll get a partial of her dress. The boy one, I'll bring it up to where you can see the little hanger, and I will die cut it. It is up to you though. I will show you what mine looks like before you do it. This is what it would look like. So it would just be framed just like this. And we're going to be placing that at an angle. Okay, those of you that fussy cut, hand fussy cut, you will glue that down to white cardstock and cut out and around. Us die cutters that went with this, we'll just add our glue and mount these. And then we're going to glue this off to the side. We do have some flowers that we are going to need to place. So I'm just going to place it off to the side without too much hanging over there. Whoops, I put this one on the wrong one, guys. Whoops, whoops, whoops. See, I do make mistakes. The girl one goes on this one. Shame on me. I almost destroyed my page, and then I would have had to fix it. Okay, the baby. And I did put my pink little one. Okay, I'm going to try and even this up. I think I got that. We're going to glue these down to white cardstock, and then we're going to cut out and around them, leaving a little bit of white border. And I will show you mine as soon as I'm done. Okay, I've got mine mounted down. Now remember the little plastic piece that I told you to hang on to? We're just going to put some glue around the outside, and then we're going to place this down on top, making sure that that glue underneath gets spread out and it does not look like a mess. So for me, using my bone folder and just a little bit of glue around the edges should do the trick. Yep, this looks good. Where do I want to place that? I think I want to place it right there. So I'm going to put a little glue and glue that down. And there we have it. Our page 5, and it looks good. Now I'm going to use my Nuvo drops, and I'm going to make a little pearl right here. Okay, I gotta let these dry. I'm gonna set these off while we continue on and finish up our page 6. All right, let's cut out this panel here. I love that stork. We are going to fussy cut. Now, I am partially cut off over here. I don't know if you are. This one seems okay. All you're going to do is just come down at a peak down there. So let's fussy cut around the stork and the baby. Really quick, when cutting out around the baby's head, I am actually curving, as you can see, so it looks like it's a little bonnet on it, so that his head doesn't look cut off. So this is what mine looks like. Now what we're going to do is glue this down to our white 110-pound cardstock and cut out and around. I'm going to try and leave about a 1/16 of an inch of white showing to border it. Okay, I've got my stork done. This one, I'm going to continue on and do this one. All right, once you've done that, now we can apply glue. And make sure you get those toes, if you were able to keep yours. And we're going to stick it right here. So this is what you should have so far. Isn't that darling? That is so cute. This is part of the cover. And for the boys, it looks like this. You don't have the booties. You have like a little tag showing. But what we're going to do is just cut from here to here and up, just to get these pieces out. So just give yourself a little room. If you want to watch here for a moment what I'm trying to do, you can do that. All right, so if you are not die cutting, what you're going to want to do is you're going to cut this into a smaller square. So you have this. You will back this with some white cardstock and cut out and around. Those of us that are die cutting, grab that same little bracket and die cut so the little baby's in there. So let's do that. All right, die cutters, let's glue that to the center of our little die cuts here. Everyone should have their pieces ready to go. Die cutters, what you're going to do is only put glue on the bottom half of yours. And you're going to stick it off at an angle. The reason why is it will allow you to slide a tag back behind. Those of you that have the little square, you will apply glue to just the bottom part and you will place yours at an angle. Page 5 and 6 are complete. We'll flip them over, apply score tape around the outside like a picture frame, one down the middle, one on either side of that, and mount this in our book. Isn't that sweet? Page 5 and 6 are complete. We are now on to page 7. We are on page 7. In your paper pack, you will find this print. It is blue with the white hearts or pink with the white hearts. On the back side is this. We're going to look at it like this. We're going to measure over 8 inches and cut. So this is what you should have so far if you're working with the blue. Now look at your page like this. Blues, pinks. We're going this way, so it's kind of sideways. Measure over 6 inches and cut. Okay, flip this over. So we'll need both of these. Actually, I want to use something else. Put these long sheets in your reserves. 7/8. Let's get some cardstock. Cut a piece of cardstock that is 5.5 inches by 10.5 inches. And then we're going to get our scoreboard out. At 5 inches, we're going to score. And we'll flip it around the other way. At 5 inches, we're going to score. Now on this one, I want you to label bottom. Cut a piece of cardstock that is 5.5 inches by 10 inches. And then we're going to stick it on our scoring board. At 4 7/8 we're going to score, and at 5 1/8 we're going to score. And then we're going to write middle. Cut another piece of cardstock that is 5.5 inches by 9 3/4 of an inch. Okay, we're going to score it at 4 3/4, and then we're going to score it at 4 7/8. We'll get that pretty close. And this is going to be the top layer. All right, let's fold on our score lines. And you'll want to use your bone folder. Lay your bottom piece down. And what you're going to do is take your middle one, and we are going to grab our 1/4 inch score tape and place it right down the spine, in between those score lines. We're going to make sure that's down really good. And then we're going to lay it directly in the middle there. And then I'm going to use my bone folder to smooth that down. On this last one, we're going to have to use glue. The spine piece on this is very narrow. So we'll use some glue on that. And we're just going to lay that right on top. All right. So I am going to push this down, but then I'm going to open it up and make sure that I got the glue, any seepage, wiped off. Okay, so this is what you should have. Okay, so this is our little book here, and it is going to go on our page. Take your pieces for now, your base sheets, and stick them off to the side. This is for the blue one. This is for the girls' album. In your reserves, you will find this print on the back. It's that blue writing. The first thing that we're going to do is cut out this little piece. Okay, once you've cut around your frame, apply glue and glue that to the inside of your frame here, of this. Next step, grab your pencil. So what we're going to want to do is you're going to take this and place it so you can see the edges of the cover of this little mini book here. And you are going to center this side to side so you know where you need to make a pencil mark, as best you can anyway. Our first cut will be down this way. As you trim your sides up, place it down to make sure that if you do place it, you will have a white border here and here. Now, turn it like this, and we're going to do the same thing. Centering it, not with the white, but look at your trim, the pink little stripe or the pink trims right there, and try to center that side to side. Once you have that, trim. I've got mine all done. Before I apply glue, I'm going to verify that it's going to fit, and then I'm going to glue these down. And remember, the opening is like a book, so the opening's off to the right. Alrighty, let's open this up. So this is where our solid colored cardstock will come into play. And this is what I had for the blue. I'm a little short. I can't find my other sheets of this, but that's okay. Let's begin. So the first cut I'm going to make on my cardstock here, in order to get the most out of the sheet, is I'm going to measure over to 5 1/4 inches and cut. Okay, my next cut, I'm going to measure over 4 3/4 of an inch and cut, and I'll measure over again 4 3/4 of an inch and cut. I've got my girl album up here and my boy here. So this is the cut, and you're going to need this for both. So I am going to glue this down to the inside of my album, and then on the very last page, I'm going to glue this down as well. So let's do that. Okay, so we have that, and for the girls, you'll be doing the same. Take your next piece of cardstock. You will measure over 5 1/4 inches and cut. Measure over 4 5/8 of an inch and cut. Measure over again 4 5/8 of an inch and cut. Apply glue and glue that down. Okay, flip to the last page. Apply glue and glue that down. Alrighty, we're on the next page. For the girls, I'm going to grab a piece of pink cardstock. I'm going to measure over 5 1/4 inches and cut. If you are doing the blue boy, you'll measure over 5 1/4 inch and cut with your blue. Okay, so once you've done that, you'll measure over 4 5/8 and cut. Measure over again 4 5/8 and cut. Okay, apply glue and glue these down. Let's flip our pages. Grab your yellow. We'll measure over 5 1/4 inches and cut. Same thing, measure over 4 5/8 of an inch and cut. Measure over again 4 5/8 of an inch and cut. Apply glue and glue these down. Let's go to our next page, which is our last page to fill. And I am going to use pink for the girl. I'm going to measure over 5 1/4 inches and cut. And I'm going to look for another piece of blue cardstock for the boy. Measure over 4 5/8 of an inch and cut. Measure over again 4 5/8 of an inch and cut. Apply glue and glue these down. Okay, our little book is complete here. Okay, we are ready to place it down. Got some gooeyes there. All right, so I want to still make it so we can slide something in if we wanted, but this is pretty heavy. So I'm going to apply glue to the bottom, and then I'm going to apply some glue up here, and I'm going to leave it open. All I'm going to do is stick it down about, I'd say, 1/8 of an inch in from the left-hand side. And then once you've got that down, press it down really good up here and here. And press it down. Let's attach some ribbon here. So I am going to flip this over, and for me, hot glue seems like the best way to do this. Now I've got a strip here. I'm running low on my blue, so I did the minimum here. But I have a strip that is approximately 10 1/2 inches long. So I have 2 of them at that. So hot glue is the best remedy for me to make sure that this sticks quickly. So I will apply some right there and put a tail or the end. Now I want to make sure that this is pretty even, so I'll just kind of eyeball this to get it as even as I can. And hopefully I have enough here. I do have enough to tie a bow. Okay, you're not going to want to tie your bow now. We're just going to set this off to the side. If you're doing the girl, you'll do the same exact thing. Our other page, we're just going to leave open. We may add some flowers and stuff here after we've put this in our book and gone back through. All we're going to do is make sure the hearts are the right side up. We're going to flip this over and apply our score tape, and we're going to mount these in our book. But remember, this one gets mounted first. So before you tie this, we want to mount it in our book. So make sure you get score tape over these ties. So when I do this, I'm going to go around like a picture frame, like normal. I'm going to stick an extra strip down right next to it to get over that ribbon. See, one in the middle and two, because of how heavy and thick. We don't want it actually pulling up. So I'm going to show you what mine looks like on this. Okay. So this is what mine looks like, and I am going to make sure I use my bone folder very carefully and get that score tape down really good. And then when we mount it, we're going to mount this one together. So let's grab our book. And then the other ones just go in like we would. Oh, this album is just adorable. Just adorable. Okie doke, I'm going to remove the backing. Okay, don't catch your tails underneath. I know it's going to be kind of a pain, but be careful not to catch it and not to pull it up. So until you get it in the book. So I'm going to make sure I am at least 1/8 away. I'll press that to keep it, and then we will put it down. So once this is down, now I can really smooth this down. I can use my bone folder to help, especially around over here, the edges. And then we're going to open this up and make sure that this is down really good. Okay? So just to make sure everybody gets it in right. Now all we have to do is tie our little bow. Adorable. And you can trim up your tails too. Okay, place this one in. Remember, watch your hearts. Whatever way your heart's going on this one, you'll want to go this way. So if you got your hearts upside down on this, I'd go upside down on that one. Page 7 and 8 are complete. We are now on to page 9. And I'm going to show you what my boy album looks like when I'm done mounting it. Okay, here's my boy album. Let's move on to our next page.